Hi everyone, and thanks for being with me. As the world crumbles under Trump, as we gather our collective breath in order to make sense as to what's happening in the world, we need to turn to Australia. Because here, whether we like it or not, whether we are tuned in or tuned out, we are having an election in a few weeks' time. And it's important every now and again for us to remember that Australia matters, particularly if you live here. So I'm going to have a brief look at some changes in our politics that we all should be aware of. And I guess the number one issue here is that Peter Dutton is looking more and more incompetent as he now realises that he can no longer adopt principles, ideas, the way of thinking and working and manipulating the population as Donald Trump has attempted to do and to some extent been very successful. But no, not here in Australia. It's not going to work. So as a result of that, a number of issues have, they've been re-evaluated. Policies have changed. Peter Dutton has changed his mind because suddenly he has realised, and I have no idea why he didn't come to this realisation earlier, that developing policies that are Trump-like are not going to be acceptable in our society. So go Australia. It's good to know that at least one country in the world has got their act together. So how has this impacted us politically? Well, I've got a couple of clips here that were on X, which I'm going to play for you, which kind of talk about this. So there's one where Albanese is discussing changes in policy and also the change in personnel that the Liberal Party have put forward for this election. So here's Albanese talking about just that very point.
I mean, Peter Dutton lost another candidate overnight. I think the women of Australia will be asking themselves what is going on when Peter Dutton can endorse a bloke who has the views that he put forward over a long period of time, was a former candidate for the UAP. This is a part of the takeover of the Liberal Party by the hard right. When you look at Alex Antic being number one on the ticket, he's got his shadow health minister at number two. A woman, Anne Ruston, who I would have some policy disagreements with on Medicare, but she's the shadow health minister. She's been a senior minister in the government dumped for Alex Antic in South Australia. In Victoria here, you have a rump taking over. I mean, Jacinta's opponent got hunted down by the right wing of the Victorian Liberal Party. You've got in WA all sorts of strange people with some very far-right views who had to get dumped. There was a candidate every week going out. Roger Cook it was hard for him to keep up during the state election. Goodness knows who they're running in the federal election. They knocked off their sitting members. Ian Goodenough knocked off. He's running as an independent. Poor old member for Monash. He'd represented his local community for decades. He's the father of the house, I think, or maybe Bob Catter, but they've been there a long time. They knocked him off in pre-selection, just discarded. Views weren't right-wing enough. I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident we'll be arguing not just to hold seats, but to win seats here in Victoria.
So there's this interview on the Today Show with our friend Dutton, and they ask him some really pertinent questions in terms of his policy positions, and some of this is just worth noting.
And this was one of your signature policies. If you're making this kind of a mistake during an election campaign, how can you be trusted as Prime Minister?
Well, Sarah, I think if you have a look at my track record over the last 20-odd years as Defence Minister and Home Affairs Minister as Assistant Treasurer, I think I've always acted in our country's best interests. We never had any intention for work from home changes that we were proposing in Canberra to apply across the private sector, but the Prime Minister was out there saying that. It was just a lie.
This is something that you could have thought about before. It was clearly not a nuanced approach, this working from home. And it really adds to the argument that you might have a problem with female voters. Obviously, you're trying to target them here. And then when you couple that with disendorsing a New South Wales Liberal candidate, Ben Britton, who made those comments about women not being in the ADF, I mean, it's not the best look for your party.
Well, Sarah, I think people, if you have a look at, the polling, but more importantly, as we've spoken to people as we go around the country, people, men and women, boys and girls, are worried about what's happening in households at the moment. There are 29,000 small businesses that have closed.
So it is evident, I think, and needs to be noted, that Dutton's looking weaker and less significant as time goes by. And there's no disputing the fact that at the moment the Liberal Party are in the toilet and Dutton's not helping. And there was this image of, or this film, I guess, or this video of Dutton kicking a football and then hitting the cameraman in the face. He hit the camera and the camera injured the cameraman, and there was very little empathy displayed in any of that in relation to what actually had happened. So the optics look bad, everything looks bad, it sounds bad. Even there's some indication at the moment that men are choosing to swap from the Liberal Party to Labor, because Dutton is just so bloody toxic at the moment. So let me know what you think about all of that, and I'm sure that many of you will, because I think that this is becoming a more interesting election than what it was when it was first called, because there are these contrasts being made, distinct contrasts between Labor and Liberal now, and the Liberal Party are choosing to walk back from many of the most unpopular policies, because even the issue around nuclear seems to have died. So, and the other one too, which interests me before I close, is the issue around the Doge type thing, or the Moj, the Minister of Government Efficiency, which was supposed to be run by Senator Price. We now know that that's not being discussed at all. So I can't understand, I guess, why it is that the Liberal Party have chosen to take some of the policies that they have, to develop these policies that were Trump-like. Was it because they believed that these policies, this sense of popularism, was going to take sway here in Australia, that it was going to influence how we were going to vote? Because I don't think at the end of the day they did their homework, and I don't think they tested to see how the population, Australian population, would react to such policies. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Ring the bell for further notifications. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.